Michael Hayes shuffles into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, wearing layers of worn, threadbare coats. His boots are cracked and caked in dried mud, and his fingers, red from the winter chill, clutch a tattered baseball cap. A scraggly beard shadows his face, and yet there's a quiet dignity in the way he straightens his back as he approaches the bench. This is no ordinary defendant. This is a man the world forgot, a homeless veteran who fought for his country and now fights for his survival. The courtroom murmurs. Some whisper. Others glance over their phones, assuming this will be a routine, unremarkable hearing. But Judge Caprio leans forward, scanning Michael with the calm intensity that has disarmed hundreds of tough cases before. Michael's eyes meet the judge's, and in that moment, it's clear that neither fear nor shame has broken him. He has something to say, something that will make every person in the room stop in their tracks. The prosecutor clears his throat, shuffling papers that seem to weigh heavier than Michael's coat. Your Honor, the defendant is accused of theft, he begins. His voice is clinical, detached, but a flicker of uncertainty passes across his face. How do you prosecute a man whose life has been reduced to survival on the streets? Everyone waits. The silence stretches. Michael lifts the tattered coat over his shoulders, and there's a pause, almost cinematic in its suspense. Beneath the layers of rags, there's an unexpected heft. What is hidden under there? The judge leans back, his expression unreadable, while jurors glance at each other, curiosity piqued. Judge Caprio's voice breaks the tension. Mr. Hayes, tell us what happened. Michael's voice is rough, cracked from years without comfort or shelter, but it carries a steady, measured weight. I didn't mean to take it. I was hungry, and I saw something I couldn't ignore. His hand hesitates at the edge of the coat. Everyone leans in without realizing it. Even the bailiffs stop adjusting chairs, as if sensing the gravity of what's about to unfold. A woman from the gallery whispers to her companion, "Why does he have that big coat in court? What's he hiding?" Nobody had expected this. The tension in the air thickens. The judge's eyes narrow slightly, but he doesn't interrupt. Patience, after all, is his weapon of choice. Michael slowly unbuttons the coat, revealing a stack of neatly folded letters, worn photographs, and a small leather satchel tied with fraying string. Not stolen goods, not weapons, but pieces of someone else's life, someone he's trying to protect. Each photograph tells a story. Children smiling on playgrounds, a man in uniform saluting the flag, a mother clutching a baby. The courtroom leans forward collectively, drawn into the silent narrative of courage, loss, and unseen heroism. Your Honor, Michael continues, I found these in an alley. Someone left them, or maybe lost them. They belonged to a family. I was just trying to make sure they got home safe. His eyes glisten with emotion, though his tone remains steady. I thought about keeping food money, but I couldn't. I had to do the right thing. Prosecutor frowns, clearly unsure how to proceed. The jury exchanges confused glances. Could this man, judged by his appearance, be more honorable than anyone imagined? Could a homeless veteran, cold and ragged, possess a moral compass stronger than the law itself? And just as the tension seems unbearable, a clerk whispers something under her breath, and Judge Caprio's eyes flash with curiosity. Something tells him that this case isn't going to end like any other. Rhetorical question moment. Who decides what makes a hero? The uniform you wore, the streets you endure, or the choices you make when no one is watching? Drop a comment below if you think Michael's about to shock everyone even more. But what happened next left the entire courtroom speechless. The courtroom settles into an uneasy silence. Michael Hayes stands at the center, his coat still slightly open to reveal the worn satchel. Judge Caprio leans forward, eyes scanning the stack of letters and photographs. He knows instinctively that there's more here than meets the eye. The prosecutor clears his throat, trying to regain control, but even he hesitates, sensing that this case is about to flip on its head. The first photograph is handed to the court clerk. It shows a young girl holding a kitten in a rundown neighborhood park. Her smile is innocent, unaware of the hardship surrounding her. Who is this? Judge Caprio asks. Michael swallows hard. Her name is Lily. I found her father passed out near the street. He had the letters and photos, and I wanted to make sure she didn't lose everything. A murmur travels through the gallery. Suddenly, the courtroom is not just witnessing a theft case. It is witnessing a man acting with extraordinary compassion under extraordinary circumstances. But the prosecutor isn't done. He calls forth an eyewitness who claims they saw Michael near a convenience store. Their statement suggests he may have taken food or small items. Michael listens quietly. His hands shake, but only slightly. "I took nothing," he says softly. "I only took what would ensure they were safe." The words hang in the air like a fragile promise. Judge Caprio tilts his head, examining the man with that famous calm intensity, as if peeling back layers of judgment to uncover the truth beneath. Then, Michael reaches into the satchel and carefully pulls out a small, beaten-up box. The company, Courtroom, leans forward instinctively. He opens it to reveal neatly organized letters, each stamped with dates, addresses, and official seals. They are legal documents, letters from housing agencies, medical forms, and notices the family had missed while struggling to survive. Michael's eyes glisten. They didn't know these were lost. If I hadn't held on to them, they could have missed critical help that could save lives. Judge Caprio's voice is steady but soft. "You say you took these to protect someone else's family?" Michael nods. "Yes, Your Honor. I've seen what happens when people slip through the cracks. I've lived it. I didn't want them to suffer the same way." A video is submitted next, a short clip from a nearby security camera. It shows Michael picking up a small pile of papers from the curb, pausing to look around, then carefully placing them inside his coat. He doesn't pocket money, he doesn't take a phone, he doesn't damage anything. He simply safeguards what is vulnerable. The courtroom gasps collectively. The narrative is turning. The man they assumed was guilty, desperate and reckless, is instead a protector, quietly heroic in the most unlikely of ways. The juror eye exchanges looks of disbelief. The prosecutor shifts uncomfortably, realizing the moral weight of this case far outweighs the simple legal argument he came prepared to make. A rhetorical question lingers in the air. When society labels someone as worthless, who truly decides their value? The law, appearances, or the courage of their actions? Drop a comment below if you think Michael's act of kindness will completely flip the courtroom. And just when everyone thought they understood the story, Michael pulled out something from under his coat that no one could have predicted. The room feels heavier now. Michael stands before Judge Caprio, the satchel open, photographs and letters spilling like shards of someone else's life. Across the aisle, the family he saved, a father, a mother, and their young daughter, watches quietly. The little girl, Lily, clutches her mother's hand tightly, her eyes wide as if she's glimpsed a miracle unfolding. The father finally speaks, his voice trembling. I don't know how to thank him. These papers, these letters, they could have ruined us. We had nowhere to turn, and he saved us." Tears glisten in his eyes, the kind that are not practiced or performed, but born of sheer relief and gratitude. The mother steps forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "He didn't have to do this. He could have walked away. We would have been fine. Or not. But he chose to help. A stranger, a homeless man. He chose us." The courtroom is silent. Every eye is fixed on Michael, whose own expression is stoic but vulnerable, like a soldier who has finally lowered his armor. Judge Caprio leans forward. "And what do you have to say about this, young man?" Michael swallows and straightens. "I just did what I hoped anyone would do. I saw a family in danger, and I couldn't turn away. That's all." A sharp cough interrupts the moment. A young man in a designer jacket, clearly accustomed to getting attention, stands at the back. "Your Honor," he says, voice dripping with entitlement, "I don't get why we're praising him. He's homeless. He shouldn't be running around other people's property. Rules are rules." His iPhone glints as he scrolls briefly, probably checking social media reactions. He looks around expecting nods, but the room is frozen. Nobody agrees with him. Judge Caprio's eyes narrow ever so slightly, and yet he returned what could have been lost forever. The judge replies evenly. He did not break trust. He did not destroy. He preserved. How do you measure who is truly following the law? Michael takes a deep breath. "Sir, ma'am, I didn't want fame. I didn't want recognition. I just couldn't ignore it. They're a good family. They deserve a chance. That's all I wanted." His voice breaks for the first time, the weight of unspoken hardship spilling into every word. The prosecutor shifts nervously. His papers seem suddenly trivial in comparison. Every juror leans forward, some with tears forming. The tension between entitlement and genuine courage hangs in the air like a storm about to break. Judge Caprio stands, voice resonant and commanding. "Every day we make choices. Some choose comfort over compassion. some choose appearances over truth. Today, this man chose the harder path, and in doing so, he reminds us what justice is really about. Not punishment alone, but honor, empathy, and courage. A rhetorical question pierces the silence. Isn't the real measure of a person how they act when nobody is watching, even when the world expects them to fail? Michael's hands shake slightly as he places the last photograph back into the satchel. Hit that subscribe button if you believe courage can come from the most unexpected places. Judge Caprio adds, though not literally, it's metaphorical here, urging viewers to internalize the lesson. The gallery feels electrified, caught between disbelief and awe. The entitled young man fidgets, clearly realizing the narrative has slipped from his control. The jury murmurs in agreement, and some wipe tears from their eyes. And just when the courtroom thought the story had reached its peak, Judge Caprio prepared to deliver the words that would seal the fate of everyone involved. Judge Frank Caprio rises slowly, his robe flowing with a quiet authority that commands attention without shouting. The courtroom, still buzzing with shock and emotion, falls into a deep, reverent silence. He fixes his gaze on Michael Hayes, then sweeps across the gallery, letting every word land like a hammer of truth. Today, he begins, voice firm yet warm. We are confronted with a story that challenges our assumptions. We are taught to judge by appearances, by circumstances, by what we can see. But real judgment, real justice, comes from understanding the choices a person makes when no one is watching. He pauses, letting the weight of his words settle. This man, Michael Hayes, has walked the cold streets, faced hunger, and endured hardship that most of us can barely imagine. And yet, when he found someone else's life at risk, when he held the chance to do nothing for his own comfort, he chose the path of compassion. That is courage, that is honor. A murmur runs through the courtroom, some sniffle, some nod, unable to deny the truth in his voice. Judge Caprio continues, undeterred. Some may ask, but he is homeless. How can he be held to the same standards as the rest of us? I tell you this, standards do not belong to the wealthy or the comfortable. Standards belong to all of us. And today, Michael shows us that the truest standard of humanity is kindness. He turns slightly toward the entitled young man in the designer jacket. And for those who think privilege or status can protect them, remember this: when morality and empathy are absent, wealth cannot shield you from the lessons life delivers. We all answer for our actions, not our clothes, not our titles, not our fame. The gallery is silent, the jury leans in. Even the prosecutor looks shaken, papers trembling in his hands. Judge Caprio steps closer to Michael, lowering his voice just enough that only the room feels it. Michael Hayes, you could have turned away. You could have ignored the letters, the photos, the family that needed you. But you did not. You honored every value this courtroom stands for: honor, courage, compassion. And for that, we recognize not just your actions, but the man you are. Michael swallows hard, a mix of relief and disbelief in his eyes. He's never been praised like this. Not in the army, not in life. He's only been overlooked, ignored, or judged unfairly. And yet here he stands, vindicated not by law alone, but by human decency. Judge Caprio's voice rises just slightly, echoing in every corner. Let this courtroom, and let the world remember this lesson. True heroism does not come from titles, from money, or from fame. It comes from the choices we make when no one is looking. Choices that protect, choices that help, choices that lift others when we ourselves are burdened. Rhetorical question: when we are tested, will we act with self-interest or will we rise to the call of humanity? Michael adjusts the satchel on his shoulder. He weight of his actions finally balanced by recognition. Judge Caprio glances toward the gallery one last time. Hit that subscribe button, the story might as well say, for the courage to honor the forgotten, and for the chance to witness justice in its truest form. The courtroom holds its breath. This is the moment before the reckoning, the pause before the miracle or karma manifests. Every heart beats faster, waiting for what comes next. And then, the verdict and the twist shattered every expectation, leaving tears, cheers, and awe in its wake. The judge pauses, allowing the weight of the moment to sink in. Michael Hayes stands quietly, coat slightly open, satchel clutched to his chest. Every eye is on him, some filled with disbelief, others with admiration. Judge Caprio finally speaks, his tone calm but carrying a resonance that shakes the room. "Michael Hayes," he begins, "you have demonstrated courage, honor, and compassion in the face of hardship. Most of us cannot imagine. Your actions have not only protected a family but reminded every person here what true justice and humanity mean. In my courtroom, that matters more than anything else." A small gasp rises from the gallery. The entitled young man in the designer jacket shifts uncomfortably, realizing the lesson is not only for him, but for everyone who assumed life is measured by privilege. Judge Caprio leans forward, voice growing warmer. "Therefore, the charges against you are dismissed. More than that, I want to ensure you have a chance to rebuild your life. Effective immediately, arrangements will be made for housing, medical care, and support services. You will not have to face the streets alone again." Tears form in Michael's eyes, unspoken gratitude reflecting in the faces of those he saved. The family steps forward, rushing to hug him. Lily, the little girl whose life he quietly safeguarded, wraps her arms around him tightly. Her mother whispers, "Thank you for saving us. You're our hero." The courtroom erupts in quiet applause. Even the prosecutor smiles faintly, caught between professionalism and the undeniable human truth unfolding before him. Judge Caprio addresses the young man one final time. "Let this be a lesson. Life is not measured by wealth, but by integrity. And when you forget that, the world has a way of showing you what truly matters." Michael's eyes drift to the satchel, the photographs, and letters now symbols not of fear or desperation, but of hope and second chances. Every person in the room understands that this is more than a legal victory. It is a miracle, a testament to selflessness and moral courage. Rhetorical question: can one act of integrity ripple far enough to change the lives of many and inspire a world that often forgets the powerless? Judge Caprio leans back slightly, the courtroom hushed, as if all are breathing together. "Hit that subscribe button," the story could say, for the reminder that heroes come in the most unexpected forms. And sometimes, justice isn't punishment, it's redemption. Michael steps toward the door, the satchel under his arm, a warm coat now replacing the tattered layers he wore moments ago. The family follows him, and the gallery stands, applauding and whispering. Social media would later explode with clips of this moment, headlines praising the heroism of a homeless veteran. But right here, right now, it's raw, unfiltered human emotion. He pauses at the threshold, glancing back once. His voice, quiet but unwavering, carries across the courtroom. "Do the right thing, even when nobody is watching. Like this video if you believe in miracles. Drop a comment below if Michael inspires you to act with courage. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and share this story, because everyone deserves to witness what true heroism looks like." The gavel falls, the courtroom cheers, and Michael Hayes walks out a free man. But the impact of his actions will echo far beyond these walls.